So we need the right amount of valgus. And what that comes down to, really, it's not the knee just pointing in or pointing out, but it's to do with the rotation of the knee joint. So the knee joint itself can do two things, two dimensions. It can move into I don't know why I keep going down enough, I should just stay up. We can straighten our knee and we can bend our knee. So that's the first dimension, straightening and bending. But then our knee can rotate. And this is the harder one to see because it's the rotation between the bones. So the thigh bone can rotate internally, which can you see how just by rotating, we're going to do this together in an assessment, it bends the knee. And that rotation inwards is what points the kneecap in. And then if we rotate the thigh outwards, what you should feel is that starts to straighten your knee and the kneecap points out. Think about your kneecap as an extension of your thigh bone. So it's not this side to side motion that's giving us the valgus. That's kind of an optical illusion. It's really the rotation of the thigh bone. So to give you a little bit more of a visual with pretend this is your knee, we don't want to see this side to side rolling. Knees should not ideally move like this. It's more of this rotation of the bones on top, or the femur on top of the tibia. And so when we have the top bone, the femur rotating inwards, that will unlock the knee and bend it. When we have the femur rotating externally, so towards your pinky toe, it should straighten the knee. We're going to check and see if your knees can twist inwards and outwards and bend and straighten at the right times and in the right amounts for you. So what we do in our homogenized fitness world is we got this idea somehow, I had this idea at some point, that pointing the knees towards your toes is bad because it compromises the safety of the knee. And then there's this idea in Gray Cook and his partner, forget his name, they had this joint by joint model where they observed that all joints throughout the body should alternate in terms of needing more stability or mobility. So they talk about the ankle needs mobility, the knee needs stability, the hip needs mobility, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So each joint was given this designation of needing more mobility or stability. But I don't think this is telling the full story, because what I see is that a lot of people are missing the mobility in their knees. And yes, the knee has less mobility than your hip, but if your knee is super stiff because you've been told to stabilize your knees, and now you're no longer permitting the rotation in your knee, and your knee can no longer bend correctly, and then we just see this big dumping in and out of the knees, but it's not happening with the correct motion in the knee joint. It's